Alright, here for our first match in a while with Bant Lotus Field. Sand obviously doesn't have a way to find Lotus Field, but I think Up the Beanstalk and Strict Proctor, or possibly casting Strict Proctor, if our opponent is a deck that is vulnerable to that style of effect. Both are perfectly fine. I don't know how this deck is positioned. It's been a while since I've played it, and my opponent seems to be taking their good old sweet time to decide their mulligans. Okay, so lead on headquarters. Could be up against straight up blue-white. I think we're going to play this a little bit slower because I feel like they shocked in to counter something here. Yes, the usual blue-white control. Got to tank 5 minutes to decide something. Okay. Sometimes let's get left with difficult decisions where they don't really get to accomplish much. Shark Typhoon is not irrelevant, but it is largely irrelevant in this style of matchup, at least the 1/1 variant of it. So let's see if they counter this. Yep. Still think I get this down, sacrifice these two. Was a gamble, it was possible I should just have copied it and, you know, presumed their opponent had a counter spell. The thing with 4 mana is with most control decks is that's when their things really start to get awkward for them, so. Alright, so play on, do inversion. Let's go ahead and use this mana to cycle. Mm-hmm. We didn't cast anything here main phase. Good chance our opponent has either Memory Deluge or the Wandering Emperor here. This Hall of the Storm Giants, unironically, is probably a bigger threat than most of the rest of their deck, so Okay. So 1, 2. So we have 7 mana here. 5 and tap. Because I cannot flash back Memory Deluge currently. Yeah, just have another Memory Deluge. Okay. This is the one advantage that regular blue-white has over us, is they have much more counter spells in game 1. So, main deck, huh? Cute. Don't know if that's a counter spell or if that is some type of wrath. So if we look at graveyards, yeah, we go with all artifacts, creatures, enchantments. Mm-hmm. Good job. Okay. Do this. Mm-hmm. Guess we really gotta hope that they don't have March here. So start by drawing a card. Make a dude. Boseiju and the Beanstalk. Start to close out the game. I do think our opponent could have taken other game actions to win this game, but we still have Yorion. Sure. Sure. So draw a card. Okay. Obviously, Farewell would get us pretty decently here. Gotta do this before blocks to create a blocker. It's bleeding a lot of resources to try to in this combat step. They're a little bit more aggressive than most blue-white decks, although honestly I haven't been keeping pace with current blue-white control trends in Pioneer, so trigger, make a 2/2. Mm-hmm. Okay, do this. Pop these 2 lands. And probably should have bought Yorion, I guess. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's not a fight you can particularly win, so bring those in, bring those in, bring those in. Don't want to go down all of our sweepers just because our opponent very much has early threats that can be a problem. So, what else am I shaving here is the question. Dream Trawler. Like, Dream Trawler is nice in that it can't be dealt with by conventional means, but opponents likely to have, you know, more targeted counter spells, which Nov just looks at and goes, nice counter spell, buddy. We'll keep this one. It's a decent early control hand. Doesn't have a way to obviously find Lotus Field, but my opponent also isn't likely to give us a ton of openings to resolve a spell like that, so. So I don't think there's anything on 3 my opponent can resolve that I care about, so. Go ahead and copy that. Gives you a chance to resolve a spell if you so choose. Bloop. Obviously, if they have a Teferi, they kind of get us here, but opponent's missing land drops, so that's not good for them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's kind of super annoying. The fact that they had double Dovin's veto is super, super annoying. What is the better bait spell is the question. Yes?
I wish you a Merry Christmas.
Oh, brother. No blocks, take that. Oh, this is likely to resolve, but at least we can start trying to force them to bleed out counters here. Yeah, let's just move on here. Your permanent enters a battlefield, causes a triggered ability to trigger. Try that at least. Okay, I guess I'd like to play first. We'll try it. Ideally, need to find a green source. Okay, sure. Okay. Mm-hmm. Seriously? Okay. Ain't that some bullshit? Hmm. Alright. Well, we got Narset's reversal, and that was basically the game, so. Alright. Pretty decent opening hand. Be better, obviously, if we could find a green source. Let's do another Yorion deck. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it looks like we're up against Nev or some maybe fires. Right on time, friend. Right on time. Interesting pile. We're up against a weird version of, a more controlling version of fires, it looks like. Why does our opponent keep checking the graveyard? Sometimes I really wonder, though, if the matchmaking thing gets paired against other matchmaking things and just kind of our matchmaking thing pairs like decks against like decks, at least for the first couple of rounds. Because I swear every time I play a deck I haven't played in a while, I play against like weird stuff that I almost never see otherwise. Now, blue-white control, I see a fair bit of that with mono green and Quintorius and Best of One. Not arguing that, but like, I'm playing an 80-card Yorion deck, and really? The best you could come up with was Elder Garderoth. Okay. Ideally looking for Doomskar's fine. Ideally I was looking for Farewell there. Kind of dumbfounded that these enigmatic incarnation decks are basically a bad blue-white control deck. Sure. Still not trample, do they? Of course they do. We obviously ideally like to look. Onto Inversion or Farewell off the top, both would be nice. Farewell maybe a little bit better. Although in this case, if they have no more lives, they're going to get us either way, so... Yep. Like, we'll Doomskar if we have to. It'll buy us maybe a turn. Go get, whatchamacallit that buys back 3 mana or less permanents with Revolt. I see the art of the card, but I can't think of the name of the card. Oh, Skyclave Apparition. Yeah, sure, that works. Alright, well, do this, draw a card, do this, draw a card, do this, draw 2 cards, get a tap land in. Yep, get to rebuy. Something. Sure. Which makes me wonder if this was in their hand the whole time. So, sacrifice this, get a 5-drop? Nope. Get another 5-drop. What they even want? Sure. Okay, so 8. Sure. Land. Just deal with that. They don't apparently have whatchamacallit. So do that and pass. Sure. Okay, they get a land, which is a cycler. Mm-hmm. Okay, farewell. And, well, let's see. Actually, yeah, farewell works quite nicely in this scenario. And then Teferi, I guess. Bing, 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 bing. Doop. There is Kenrith the Returned King could potentially be lethal here, so we're not out of the woods yet, but Path of the World Tree, I mean, sure. gain 2 life, draw 2 cards. Like I said, we're not out of the woods yet because of Kenny. But 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Opponent currently doesn't have enough mana to kill us with Kenny, but this would also be lethal. So maybe I should also have played Strict Proctor last turn. Okay, that one's annoying. See. Just a nice to cross the finish line. Got it. So definitely want those. Definitely want a copy of those. It's debatable. It was debatable. So if I wouldn't have gotten greedy with my attack with whatchamacallit there, I think we win that game. So could bring in Thought Distortion, but it just doesn't do a lot. I mean, it does some against them because they seem to be a little bit of a heavier spell-based thing, and they're probably bringing in some counter spells. So, trying to walk in a bit more aggressively. This hand's fine. Probably put back Otawara for now. Okay, do this, sacrifice the lands, pass. You have Boseiju? Yep, I'm gonna see. That's fine. is now online. Trigger, draw a card. Mm-hmm. The fun part is I'm like almost happy they're doing that with things here. Mm-hmm. Sure. I could just unleash a large Shark Typhoon if they literally do nothing this turn. Okay, so can we get 10-10? Sure. Sure. Alright, so our opponent scoops to that. Interesting. Probably should have brought in the Dovin's Vetoes, huh? Don't think we can keep this hand. Yeah, we'll try this hand. Mm-hmm. Sure. Klein. Mm-hmm. Sure. Could have put Yorion in hand, but I think it's just better to cycle this. Mm-hmm. When I'm in the sea is terrible, and when the sea is terrible. Sure. We'll even go get here. What else? Let me put a land card from Moon on the battlefield tapped. Mm-hmm. That's a tough one, actually. It's just Deluge and Discontinuity. Pass. Take the hit for 3, I'm fine with that. How did I blank out that one? Okay, that just was snap resolved, so they have no more counter spells in hand. This is just where this deck goes stupid. Yep, and our opponent agrees, so game over. So taking a look at this deck, it's been a while since I visited it, so I wanted to see how it kind of felt. Now it's really hard to get a gauge against blue-white control and Yorion Fires, because those are two decks that blue-white control isn't a great matchup, but at least we have a coherent sideboard plan for it. And Yorion Fires or Enigmatic Fires, any of the variants of that deck, were kind of what this deck was kind of built to prey on. The faster the format is, the worse this deck generally is. I haven't really tested it against the newer Phoenix builds, against the newer Rakdos Vamp builds. But this deck was built with a whole bunch of sweepers. Basically it was just blue-white Lotus Field with the green splash for Sylvan Scrying and Up the Beanstalk. And I've been happy with both these cards in the deck. Plus, the option to go and find things like Boseiju and Otawara, just to deal with random annoying things. Couple things this deck struggles with, obviously, pressure backed up by counter spells. It tends to struggle with really fast aggro decks unless you have your absolute perfection draw, which is like turn 1 or turn 2 Foretold or Foretell, turn 3 Doomskar, or like turn 2 Strict Proctor, turn 3 Lotus Field, turn 4 Sweeper. Outside of those, and maybe a one-man interaction, either a March or a Lay Down Arms on turn 1, tended to be in a little bit of trouble against a lot of those decks. Mono red, those kind of decks. So this deck is more built to prey on the mid-range decks of the format. Anything from Phoenix to formerly Rakdos mid-range, decks like Sacrifice, Niv Mizzet, those kind of things. Does tend to struggle into faster aggro, and then tempo decks like Spirits. As far as the sideboard plan is kind of fairly simple. You have the 8 control cards that you can bring in to, go down most of your sweepers against most variants of blue-white control. Your 3rd and 4th copy of Shark Typhoon, the 2 Thought Distortions, the 2 Dilmerman's Vetoes, and 2 Niv Mizzets. Leyline Sanctity, this is primarily... I had this in the sideboard primarily for, Thoughtseize decks and such, but it also doubles quite decently against the red aggro decks, making sure that your other burn spells can't go to your face. So, kind of a nice sideboard duty. Aethergust is the one card that's kind of like, especially when Mono Green was kind of out of the format. This card was almost pointless in the sideboard, but hadn't really revisited this deck in quite a while since I was playing it on the old Arena channel that's currently inactive. But with green popping up a little bit more, with red variants, red aggro variants. Even to a certain degree, you could conceivably bring this in against some variants of, mid-range decks if they're playing a little bit more of the red spells. But this is probably the card that's the biggest question mark in the deck. And obviously, being a Yorion deck, you just kind of get to do broken, stupid things with this deck. But the other thing, obviously, Thespian stage, very important with Lotus Field, but also important to copy your Hall of the Storm Giants, Castle Locked-Wing, Castle Ardenvale. And eventually you can get to the point with this deck where you can literally just win with your lands. We could have easily probably been... I don't know if we would have been blue-white with that Narset's reversal on a Thought Distortion. But, we easily could have gone 3-0 against Fires. So, if I wouldn't have gotten too aggressive with our Hall of the Storm Giants game 1. So, anyway, felt like I'd revisit this deck a little bit, see how it felt. Doesn't feel terrible. But then again, it's kind of hard to tell with only a few matches. But, if this is a deck you're interested in seeing, I can share the links on my old Arena channel, or where I used to play this deck a little bit more frequently. And I enjoyed it from time to time. It's not a deck that's going to do great all the time, but it's a fun little change of pace, and it's not quite traditional blue-white control. It's more like blue-white Tron, for lack of a better thing. But anyways, if you like Explore and Pioneer content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you for our next video.